Good afternoon. This is the Chorus Call conference operator. Welcome, and thank you for joining the Tinexta 9-month 2020 results conference call. As a reminder, all participants are in listen-only mode. After the presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. Should anyone need assistance during the conference call, they may signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on their telephone. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Lawrence Kay, Director of Communication and IR. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Buonasera a tutti. Thank you for joining and participating at this conference call. We will start with Mr. Chevallard, the CEO, will go through the results, highlights and the business unit performance. Then Oddone Pozzi, Group CFO, will review the financials, in particular balance sheet, and then we will close with some outlook and obviously open things up for questions and answers. Thank you for joining again. Pierre, if you want to start up.
Grazie, buonasera a tutti.
I'll be doing some translation just to make it easier, so we'll talk in some in Italian and then I'll do some short translation.
Grazie a tutti voi, buonasera. Allora, voi avete ricevuto sia il comunicato stampa sia la presentazione, quindi cercherò di essere sintetico, anche perché mi sembra che i numeri parlino da soli. I primi 9 mesi hanno portato dei risultati, devo dire, estremamente positivi, dei risultati che in qualche misura hanno superato anche le nostre previsioni, vale a dire abbiamo avuto ricavi in aumento dell'oltre il 4% e l'EBITDA in crescita del 20%. Questo è stato dovuto a un terzo trimestre di fortissimo recupero, con un incremento dei ricavi prossimo al 20% e un aumento dell'EBITDA rispetto ovviamente allo stesso periodo dell'anno scorso, che peraltro era stato, devo dire, il terzo trimestre 2019 era stato un trimestre inconsuetamente basso, comunque una crescita dell'EBITDA del 50%, con una crescita distribuita tra tutte le business unit, ancorché quella che ha performato meglio è stato il Credit Information Management.
Okay, thank you very much and good evening. I believe you've received the press release and the presentation, so as a consequence I'll be very brief and to the point. 9-month results were extremely positive and in a certain sense exceeded our forecast. Year-to-date results, revenues were up by some 4%, EBITDA by some 20%. This was driven by the third quarter results, which recovered very strongly, and indeed revenues were up by some 19%, and as you can see, EBITDA was up by over 50%. All of the business units performed very well. In particular, though, the one that was the main driver was that of Credit Information and Management. One thing to caution, one thing to state is that these third quarter results are vis-a-vis compared to the third quarter 2019, which was unusually light in terms of revenues. Okay.
Grazie. Abbiamo avuto un'eccellente produzione di cassa anche in questo trimestre, quindi il free cash flow di questi primi 9 mesi è stato superiore ai 50 milioni. Questo ha fatto sì che la posizione finanziaria netta sia scesa a 93 milioni rispetto ai 129 dello stesso periodo di fine anno 2019. Per entrare un po' più nel dettaglio, quindi per dare i valori assoluti, i ricavi nei primi 9 mesi prossimi ai 190 milioni, EBITDA 56 milioni, come si diceva, EBIT 37, con un incremento del 25% rispetto allo stesso periodo dell'anno scorso, utile netto 26 milioni con un incremento del 37% rispetto all'anno scorso. Quindi mi sembrano dei risultati che segnalano la fortissima capacità del gruppo di aver dato di essere stato capace, la fortissima capacità del gruppo di rispondere al post prima emergenza sanitaria.
Okay, just going further down, we note that the free cash flow was excellent in this quarter, that it arrived at over 50 million euros, and that in turn helped drive down the net financial indebtedness to 93.4 million euros. If we look a little bit more in detail on page 4 of the presentation, revenues rose to almost 190 million euros, EBITDA roughly 56 million euros, the operating profit EBIT at 37 million euros, and net profit at 26.3 million euros, which was up significantly by almost 38%. It would seem to me that the result is excellent and demonstrates the capability of the group to respond to the COVID and post-COVID crisis.
D'altronde la forte recupero nel terzo trimestre è ovviamente anche dovuto al fatto che abbiamo recuperato parte la grandissima parte delle vendite che non avevano avuto luogo nel secondo trimestre. Come dicevo, tutte le business unit hanno avuto un andamento positivo, direi ovviamente quella che ha avuto l'incremento più significativo è Credit Information Management, dove abbiamo potuto fruire di una grande capacità e rapidità nell'adeguare l'offerta del gruppo Innolva alla domanda emergente dai diversi provvedimenti anticrisi, in particolare dalle opportunità offerte dal Fondo Centrale di Garanzia. Devo dire che anche le altre business unit hanno performato positivamente, questo ha consentito di avere questo risultato molto interessante.
Okay, if we look therefore at the very end, what we see is that a very good result is largely due to the recovery of sales that have been lost in the first and in the second quarters, and so therefore this is really the driver. If we look on page 6, we note that the change that happened here in the revenue mix from credit information management was the one that helped achieve these results. This was due in large part to the very rapid capability to change gears and to put into place the possibility of working with banks and therefore with SMEs to obtain loans from the Central Guarantee Fund of the government. Clearly, the other business units performed as well, and together giving rise to these very good results.
Direi ancora due considerazioni, due elementi che sono contenuti nel nostro comunicato. Abbiamo annunciato nel nostro comunicato che abbiamo sciolto la joint venture con il partner lussemburghese. Abbiamo avuto nel corso degli ultimi mesi un intenso confronto sulla strategia nei prossimi anni ed è emerso una divergenza evidente tra l'interesse tra l'obiettivo della componente lussemburghese di spingere molto sulla allargamento dell'offerta sul mercato del Lussemburgo, e la nostra strategia invece tutta orientata a considerare Luxtrust la piattaforma per l'ingresso sul mercato francese. Quindi abbiamo convenuto che in questo contesto era più conveniente per ambedue le parti rafforzare, trasformare la joint venture in una forte alleanza commerciale. Infocert, e quindi tramite un'alleanza commerciale con Luxtrust, sarà presente sul mercato lussemburghese e nel suo tempo continuerà in modo autonomo la propria strategia sul mercato francofono. In base all'accordo che a suo tempo avevamo sottoscritto, lo scioglimento della joint venture ha comportato l'esercizio della call da parte del socio lussemburghese per il 50% delle quote controllate da Infocert, e l'esercizio della call avverrà al prezzo originale di sottoscrizione di 12 milioni, quindi quello che avevamo investito, la stessa cifra che avevamo investito.
Okay. First, two other pieces of news. In particular, one, as we announced in the press release, and you see here in the presentation on page 8, the conversion of the joint venture in Luxtrust into a commercial alliance. We have had some intense discussions regarding strategy over the last several months, and what has come out has been a divergence of the Luxembourg component to push a widened offer in Luxembourg, preferring that, as opposed to Luxembourg to push on into the French market. So therefore, by mutual agreement, we have decided to dissolve the joint venture and transform it into a commercial alliance. In this context, Infocert will continue to collaborate with the Luxtrust, particularly in Luxembourg, but also continue its strategy in Europe, particularly with regard to the creation of a pan-European leader in trust services. As it is stated, the unwinding of this agreement is being done at the original price. Therefore, Luxembourg Luxtrust Development will be paying back to buy back the 50% shares of Luxtrust at the original price that was agreed upon some 2 years ago.
Una seconda comunicazione che abbiamo dato è relativa all'acquisizione finalizzata ieri da parte della nostra controllata Warrant Hub di un operatore francese attivo nella medesima area di business di Warrant Hub, di Euroquality, della sua controllata in Bulgaria, una società attiva con degli eccellenti risultati nel campo della progettazione per fondi europei, quindi attività estremamente complementare da cui riteniamo possiamo avere interessantissimi risultati, ma soprattutto è il primo passo nella strategia di crescita all'estero della business unit di Warrant Hub, che si aggiunge all'attività già avviata da Comarch in Spagna.
Okay, so if we turn on page 16 of the presentation, you will note the other bit of news that I would like to talk about is the fact that Warrant Hub has perfected just yesterday the acquisition of 2 companies, one the particular Euroquality SAS based in Paris, and its sister company Euro Project based in Bulgaria. These companies operate essentially in the same area as Warrant Hub. They specialize in supporting their customers in accessing the European funds for innovation, and they have had excellent performance in the past. This is clearly the first expansion geographical for Warrant Hub beyond the Alps and outside of Italy, and that is accompanying clearly what Comark did at a couple of years ago in Spain.
Last but not least, unfortunately, we had to communicate that Larry Kay will leave the group. Is a pity, but it was his decision, not sure the decision of Tinexta group. We are deeply sorry. Because of that, I'm trying to let him work also today as interpreter. But as you know, it's really a pity for our group. Larry worked in very, very, come si può dire, splendida, in a very, very good way with us. It was very, very important. But anyway, we will find someone much better than him. You can be sure. and Ottone.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. So let's move into page 18 to the balance sheet part. As you can see here, net capital, invested capital dropped significantly compared both to end of 19 as well as the end of Q3 19. Definitely it was very important, all the work done on the working capital that dropped significantly on both comparison, and this is the main driver of this drop. Shareholder equity obviously increased because of the important result delivered by the group in terms of net profit, and net financial position dropped further from close to 130 million, both at the end of 19 as well at the end of Q3 19. This was driven by the excellent cash flow, mainly driven by the EBITDA, but from a significant recovery and cash generation from the working capital that is occurring over the last 9 months. Of course, part of this improvement has been offset by the share buyback that occurred before the big significant increase of the share prices, and but this was equal to 10 million, as well as the acquisition of Privacy Lab that we have done. No dividend has been distributed by Tinexta during the current year, as you may recall. If we move to the following page, you can see the continuous deleverage from the group. The situation was peaking in mid-June 19 and 140 million. From that moment, there is a continual deleveraging, despite of the fact that there was also the share buyback for an amount close to 10 million. As of today, September 20, the end of September net financial position is 93 million. This is not contemplating, obviously, all the acquisition that we communicate to the market. We went into the closing of the acquisition of Swascan, as previously communicated to the market, the acquisition of Autada that occurred also in October, as well the acquisition in the AMS from Warranty Hub. These will be included in the Q4 net financial position. I think that's all.
Okay. Any final comments regarding the outlook? I think we've.
Yes. Sorry. We gave today. of the results of the first 9 months, we gave a new guidance for the full year. We estimate that in 2020 the group will achieve over 260 million of revenues and an EBITDA very close to 80 million. As you remember, the former estimates we released in June was talking on revenues over 250 million and the EBITDA close to 72 million. Of course, it's a forecast. We consider as a quite reliable forecast.
At this point, we'll open up for questions.
Excuse me, this is the Chorus Call conference operator. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. To remove yourself from the question queue, please press star and two. Please pick up the receiver when asking questions. Anyone who has a question may press star and one at this time. The first question is from Carlo Maritano with Intermonte. Please go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of questions. The first one is related to the revenues in the credit information business. So I was wondering how much of the additional revenues you obtained thanks to the Credito Liquidità Imprese you think will be recurring in the next year, and how much do you think it is a one-off related to the current situation? And on the credit information on margins, as now at the end of the 9 months, we are above the 30% EBITDA margin. Do you expect this level to be, that we have to consider this level as recurring and sustainable in the next year, or do you imagine to return back to something around 25% as in the past years? The second question is on working capital. So we have seen a strong reduction in working capital in the third quarter. Could you provide us some more color on the driver and the measure adopted to have such a strong reduction? And the final question is on the termination of the joint venture with Lux Trust. What is your strategy for to enter the French market right now? Do you think to enter it?
Can you speak more clearly because you're fading in and out?
Or in Italian, if you want.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Maybe it's right.
Can you repeat your third question?
Yes. The third question is related to the termination of the joint venture with Lux Trust. So I was wondering, what is your strategy now to enter the French market, given the different strategy you had with the previous shareholder of your partner, Lux Trust? Do you think to enter it with M&A, such you just made in Germany, or you will try to enter through partnership in the market? Thank you.
Rispondo alla prima e alla terza questione, alla seconda risponde il CFO Oddone Pozzi. Sulla prima questione, sicuramente l'andamento della business unit Credit Information Management ha risentito, come ho già anticipato, in misura straordinaria della capacità di servizio rispetto all'accesso al Fondo Centrale di Garanzia. Questo non vuol dire che una buona parte di questi ricavi non si possa consolidare in ricavi ricorrenti, ovviamente non nella stessa misura, ma in una certa percentuale anche significativa, perché il dato rilevante è che abbiamo quasi triplicato le banche clienti in questi 6 mesi, il che ci fa ritenere che la quota di ricavi ricorrenti che si andrà a stabilizzare a partire, direi, dalla seconda metà del 2021, perché ancora la prima metà del 2021 potrà avere una domanda molto forte, sia sufficientemente rilevante.
Okay. So assuredly, the trend of the business unit, the performance has felt in an extraordinary manner the capacity to exceed, to work with the National Guarantee Fund and helping the banks and their clients. That doesn't mean that we won't be able to consolidate this level of this, or at least a good portion of this activity. We almost tripled the number of banks that we work with, and this basically helps us believe that there will be a solid carryover in a sustainable fashion. Clearly, what has happened we will continue in the first half of next year. The question is what will happen in the second half of 2021.
Sul terzo punto, su Lux Trust, noi continueremo ovviamente noi continuiamo a perseguire la nostra strategia di crescita sul mercato francese, stiamo analizzando direttamente alcuni target, il che non ci fa escludere che possiamo anche percorrere la strada di qualche alleanza strategica. Al momento comunque la strada che stiamo perseguendo è entrare direttamente tramite acquisizioni sul mercato francese.
Okay, so with regard to the third question and that of Lux Trust, we intend to continue our strategy. We are analyzing several alternatives, in particular entering directly into the French market. That doesn't mean we rule out, however, the strategic alliances that could be very important for that market.
As far as concerns the second question, definitely we delivered at the end of Q3 a very positive result in terms of cash generation from the working capital. This has been driven basically from two main elements. First of all, if we go back to last year, both at the end of Q3 and the end of Q4, the group had a weak position on the working capital with some absorption of cash. Now we are definitely full recovering this and putting further effort to improve it. So by the end of this year, we do expect some sort of cash generation also at the end of the year from the working capital, but at the end of the day, this should be considered as a one-off improvement that we will continue to keep it in 2021. Definitely, we do expect some cash generation also at the end of the year from working capital.
Excellent.
We can move back to Russell if he speaks slowly, given his Boston accent.
Much better than mine, anyway.
The next question is from Russell Pointon with Edison. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'd like to say two things. First of all, congratulations on the results. Also, obviously very sad to see Laurent go. He's been a great help. I really hope this means I don't have to learn Italian over the next few months. My first question would be, just in terms of the annual guidance, you've obviously done very well in credit information and management, given the new revenue stream there. Could you just talk about how much of the increased guidance for the full year is due to that versus sort of looking back when you increased your guidance a few months ago? Are the other businesses recovering better than you thought at that stage, or is this just due to the improvements in credit information? My next question is in terms of the warrant target, the new businesses that you've acquired. Will you follow a similar strategy with respect to Warrant Hub as you have done with Digital Trust, in terms of you will have to buy businesses in new countries that you enter, or could you actually just enter new countries using Warrant Hub's existing staff, etc.? Thanks very much.
If we go the first question, I think that we do expect compared to the previous guidance released to the market, we do expect an increase in basically in all the business unit, but definitely the credit information management is the business unit that will deliver most of the increase of the new guidance. But all the business units are delivering better than expected at that time, as you may see also in the performance at the end of Q3.
Sulla seconda domanda riguardo a InfoCert, riguardo al Digital Trust, noi intendiamo per ora perseguire una politica di presenza sul mercato estero tramite acquisizioni, perché accorcia evidentemente il tempo di ingresso sul mercato. È ovvio che qualora nel 2021 realizzassimo che questa strategia non è perseguibile, procederemo con una presenza diretta, ma non è l'opzione principale.
Questo sia anche per le altre BU.
Sì, esatto.
Okay, so Russell, regarding your question with the approach, we basically believe it important to undertake M&A because it shortens the time to market, and therefore in not only for digital trust, in particular for digital, but also for any other M&A activity, we have an approach that we prefer to buy something and then build upon the local presence that's already been established.
Okay. So can I just have one final question, please?
Go ahead.
With respect to the cybersecurity acquisition, I think one of them was probably due to complete about now, whereas a couple at the start of next year. Is there any update on the timing of those acquisitions, please?
Quinn, all right, so your question is there an update regarding the acquisitions of the cybersecurity in that sense?
Yes.
I would, if I may say, we did close. Actually, it is in the press release. We closed Swasan as we had mentioned. So that was actually done. So they are a member of the. They will be consolidated as of October 1 in our results. Everything else with regard to the other two companies, both with Corvallis as well as Leroy, everything is on track, probably in very early 2021. In January. That is our idea.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
The next question is from Isacco Brambilla with Mediobanca. Please go ahead, sir.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking my question. First of all, I would like to join Russell in thanking Larry for all the support provided in these years in Tinexta. That's it. 3 questions from my side. The first one is on innovation and marketing business unit. In this segment has performed really well since the easing of lockdown. Can you help us understand how much has been the support from the anti-crisis governmental measures put in place during this month, whether they have already started to have some tangible impact on your division, or whether this will be seen more going forward in the coming quarters? The second question is on speed. I've seen in the presentation that you have mentioned it as a contributor in the quarter. As in Italy, we are hearing more and more about speed, and also, if I'm not wrong, some of your competitors had some issues in the past days. Is this segment becoming more interesting, more appealing for InfoCert and may contribute to the growth going forward? And the last question is on the outlook for 2021. Actually, if I look at your guidance now, it looks even better than the one provided in February before COVID. So I would think that COVID is proving more an opportunity rather than a threat. Going forward, so looking at 2021, you expect the solid momentum across all business units may continue according to your original business plan?
Ok.
Io parto dalla terza di domanda.
Vai.
Allora, fermo restando che sicuramente abbiamo avuto dei risultati superiori alle attese, ma questo non vuol dire che ci auguriamo che il Covid continui, va da sé. Quindi l'emergenza sicuramente ha creato delle condizioni favorevoli che abbiamo saputo utilizzare, ma o meglio non ha creato più di tanto ostacoli allo sviluppo del nostro business, a parte il mese di aprile direi e soprattutto il mese di marzo e parte del mese d'aprile c'è stato una sostanziale stabilità, quindi le prospettive per il 2021 sono sicuramente interessanti. A febbraio, come di consueto, presenteremo al mercato il piano 2021-2023 e le previsioni per il 2021. Consentitemi oggi di non sbilanciarmi nel fornire indicazioni perché sarebbe sicuramente prematuro. Stiamo lavorando sull'elaborazione del piano e del budget, però è evidente che i risultati finora conseguiti sono molto incoraggianti per il futuro.
Okay, just translate. So, notwithstanding the results that we have just released, that are certainly, in a certain sense, above where they were to be projected pre-COVID, and we certainly don't want that the COVID situation continues. But we do note that the COVID situation did not create obstacles in our business. From the months of March and April, basically things have stabilized, and certainly we have been able to capitalize on the opportunities presented. Looking ahead for 2021, we will do our normal presentation of the preliminary results, and as well provide you the plan for 2021, our forecast for 2021, and overall the strategic direction of the group. You obviously can understand I don't want to talk, I can't talk to this too much, but we can't anticipate anything, but we are already hard at work looking at formulating the budget and the plan, and looking forward to next year as well.
I answer now to the first question relating to innovation marketing services and warrant in particular. As you may see, the Q3 of the full division, as well as for warrant, has been a very good quarter, despite the fact that Mr. Chevallard anticipated maybe the Q3 of last year was a bit weaker than usual, but in any case, the activity in warrant is performing very well. Different is the situation Comac, as anticipated since the previous quarter, where the situation is weaker because of the current condition. In terms of profitability, the profitability of war has even improved quarter on quarter. And if we look at the revenue mix, we do not see a major variance. Definitely the COVID helped in overperforming in some business line, and probably it was going to meet a bit on other, but overall we expect a performance aligned with our expectation by the end of the year, both in terms of profitability as well as from the revenue standpoint.
Okay, with regard to the question on speed, and I know, Isacco, you like to talk about speed. Speed by the legislation is offered to citizens on a free basis, gratis, such that anyone can go to the post office in Italy and obtain speed without paying. As you all know, well, many of you don't perhaps, but there was the so-called click day for the mobility bonus for obtaining up to 500 euros of money for investing in, for buying a new bicycle, whether it's electrical or not. I can even tell you, I did purchase a new bicycle recently, but I was not able to enter into. But I didn't get into the site on time. You refer to, however, the fact that on the day of Click Day with the Ministry for the Environment, the post office, the Poste, were inundated with requests, and not only just to get a new speed, but the posts were not able to allow people who wanted to enter the Click Day website, and their website was down for much of the day, and people could not use it. On the other hand, what happened with InfoCert was that between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, there was a huge number of people that asked for to receive SPID credentials. SPID is the digital public identity system in Italy, and with it you can get into the Italian government networks. Look at your Social Security, your taxes, what have you. Between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, there was such a volume that it was difficult for InfoCert to allow people to get a new registration. But by 10 o'clock, they had gotten through all of the requests, and at the same time, anyone who was already a user of SPID with InfoCert had no problems getting onto the website of the Ministry of the Environment, such that in that particular case, InfoCert performed dramatically well. They had foreseen the need for beefing up their systems. One thing to be said is that we have that InfoCert does not give out SPID if you get it, and they only offer it via web. You can get it via web, and even including a version with a video identification. And for that you pay. We have actually reduced the cost there slightly, but what we do is we cover the costs. At the end of the day, SPID for InfoCert is a brand identity maker. It is not something where they make a whole lot of money, but we hope and we have seen that people, once they're in with SPID with InfoCert, then they actually buy other products. So the increase that you see in the costs, in a certain sense, in the third quarter, were actually tied for InfoCert to these additional costs of setting up SPID for people. I can tell you that overall, during the third quarter, SPID rose 278% in business and 358% through the e-commerce channel. We'll open up. Is that good enough for you?
Yeah, sure. Many thanks. Maybe just a brief follow-up on Warrant Hub. Is there any qualitative comment on backlog for this company?
Is there any? We have a backlog. Yes, I can give you. Basically, the backlog was. Give me 1 second. I'll get you some numbers. I mean, we don't like necessarily always give you out the numbers. This is not something.
Non ho dato mai questo dato.
No, l'abbiamo dato nel passato.
Sul backlog?
Yeah.
Sul portafoglio ordine? Ma figurarsi.
The
dato sui risconti, che è un'altra cosa.
Well, basically, we can say that the backlog or in a handling process is up over, say, 3,000. And the important thing is that the applications for hyper-depreciation are up around 1,000. Most of the latter will be processed in the fourth quarter.
Thank you.
Ho capito, ma che bello, ho capito. Va bene.
The next question is from Andrea Bonfà with Banca Akros. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello, good afternoon to everybody. But first and foremost, I joined the financial community to thank Larry for all his support throughout these years. So, Larry, I wish you all the best in your new position. But going straight to questions, the first one is that the performance of credit information management is clear, but I would like also highlight that also innovation and marketing solution is growing nicely throughout the 3 quarters, even more at EBITDA level. So if you can elaborate just once more again what is driving the innovation and marketing solution performance so far. And the second one is on your statement that in H2 you might expect a fall in business in the Fondo Centrale di Garanzia, but a material part of it will remain recurrent. For you, a material part is something like 50, or is this closer to 80-90%, just to have an idea? And the third one is in your guidance. It seems to me that you are implying a fall in sales in the last quarter and a fall in EBITDA. In which division shall we expect a decline? Is that a comparison in the innovation and marketing solution? Just a comment from your side. Thank you.
First of all, you shouldn't enjoy about Larry. He will be again on Monday with all of you. You couldn't think he will leave the field. That's under another cover. Don't enjoy.
You haven't seen the last.
Qual era la domanda?
Allora, l'IMS è andato molto bene.
Sì.
Allora, puoi dare qualche colore sull'andamento perché sta andando bene?
IMS, Innovation Marketing Service, sta andando bene perché soprattutto sul fronte Warrant Hub ovviamente c'è stato sicuramente un consolidamento della domanda già esistente, un ingresso di nuovi clienti superiori alle attese. Noi temevamo che l'effetto Covid potesse produrre un rallentamento dell'attività commerciale, invece è stato superiore alle attese. Sicuramente anche Warrant Hub è stata favorita. Anche Warrant Hub ha una piccola unità che gestisce operazioni per il Fondo Centrale di Garanzia di dimensioni molto inferiori con alcune banche, però sicuramente questo ha pesato positivamente. Direi che questi sono gli elementi principali.
Okay, so let's say that Warrant Hub has obviously been within EMS. The major driver here is clearly been Warrant Hub, and it has been able to consolidate the demand, the already existing demand, in the sense that it has been able to attract new clients. COVID, we had thought at the beginning that COVID would have had an impact, a negative impact, but on the contrary, we have seen that the commercial activity has been superior to the original forecast, and so that's been quite good. One also needs to point out that Warren Hub also has a small activity for them, but it does have an activity also with the National Guarantee Fund, with just a small select number of banks, and that did also have its own weight in positive weight on the results.
Poi tanto domanda ho fatto una
sì, che Q4 è previsto che
Ma no, certo, il Q4 può dare l'impressione di essere di declino, ma adesso non è che possiamo crescere all'infinito. Poi, come sapete, siamo naturalmente prudenti e quindi adesso, francamente, quest'anno c'è stata sicuramente un'accelerazione dei ricavi nel terzo trimestre per effetto del Covid. Questo ci fa stimare che il quarto trimestre non sarà così denso come gli anni precedenti, ma riteniamo questo un fattore positivo anche di organizzazione dell'attività delle nostre aziende. Poi non poniamo limiti, ben intesi.
We don't put any limits on our on our activities. That's just what Pier Andrea said. So with regard to the fourth quarter, clearly we have given out a guidance. We've increased. We don't believe that we can grow on an infinite basis, but we do take into account the fact that there was an acceleration in the third quarter as a result of COVID, and therefore we believe that the fourth quarter will be a good quarter. It may not be as wonderful as some other quarters, but it will be a good quarter.
Any other question? No.
Of what you might retain as a own recurring business from the Fondo Centrale di Garanzia in H2. If it was 50%, you think you can keep, or is it almost close to 100? Just to have an idea.
Could you repeat the initial part of the question? We didn't hear it.
Yeah. You mentioned before that you are expecting the business of Fondo Centrale di Garanzia to grow for sure in the first half of the next year because of this ongoing situation, and then maybe to decline a little bit or to decline in H2, but you are aiming to make this business becoming recurrent. So you are expecting a material part of this business to remain recurrent. So what's your idea in terms of percentage? Is that 50% or is it close to 100? Just to have an idea.
You will tell us. We can't. We are not used to give such an information, and at the same time, it is too early. We consider that in the first half of next year we will have I would say a cue of the demand for the Central Fund of Guarantee, and in the second half we will get a recurring demand which could be quite interesting, but we are not in condition now to tell you 50%, 60%, or 40%. We are not in condition. When we will giving the guidance to the market for the full 2021. We will also include our forecast on Central Fund of Guarantee.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry not to give the proper answer, but this is.
Well, that's okay. Thank you very much.
As a reminder, if you wish to register for a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone.
I would like to join Pier Andrea in thanking Larry. It's been a pleasure for me working with him, even only for a few months, but really he helped me a lot in entering into Tinexta, so it was a pleasure working with him professionally and personal-wise. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say my thanks, my gratitude for 4 great years, and it's been wonderful. And Tinexta is a growing group, and it's a dynamic group. And in that sense, I'm very sorry to be leaving a great bunch of people and a great company. If there are no other questions, we can close here.
There are no more questions registered.
Un'altra questione? No. Finish.
Thank you very much.
Good evening to everybody.